Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to start here in a couple minutes. Shabbat Shalom to Tina and David and Irene and Lisa Shapiro. Hope you're doing well. We missed you on Tuesday. Shabbat Shalom, David, and Shabbat Shalom, Stephanie and Lane. Nice to see you, or at least see your name. Miss Betty Ehrlich is joining us, and so is Joy Blondheim. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Welcome to Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem Synagogue here in Montgomery, Alabama. The weather is almost perfect. I hope everyone is okay. Yes, David, and I hope I welcome Lee as well. She is not chopped liver. Hello, Joy. Hello, Barbara. How is everyone doing? Good Shabbos. Nice to see people in our sanctuary. I'm so glad to see you. Joy, did you get that photo I sent you? That was nice. That was a nice picture. Yeah. Hello, Dickie. How are you? It's optional. Board said optional. So. All right, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. We're going to go ahead and begin our service. As everybody is getting comfortable, we'll begin page 5 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu Boachem L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu Barchuni L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu Tzedchem L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Excuse me. Apologize for that. We continue page 11 with Psalm 95. Lechu nechanena, lechu nechanena, lechu nechanena ladonai. Lechu nechanena, lechu nechanena, lechu nechanena ladonai. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Nekadma Fana Betoda. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Bizmirot Norialo, Lechuneranena, 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 Ladunai, Lechuneranena, 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 Ladunai, Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Mikad Mafana Betoda, Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Bizmirot Narialo. Please join me in the English. Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Filled with thanks, let us greet God, raising our voice in song. Great is Adonai, a greater sovereign than all other deities. God's hands form the earth's deep. Mountains' crests too are God's work. The sea for God made it. Dry land was fashioned by God's hands. Come then, let us bow and kneel. Let us bend our knees in the presence of Adonai who formed us. For Adonai is our God, and we are God's flock, sheep in God's caring hands. If only you would listen today to God's voice and not become hard-hearted like the people at Merivah, like that time at Massah in the desert when your ancestors tried me and tested me, though they had seen what I had wrought. For 40 years I was troubled by that generation, and I said, these are a people whose hearts have gone astray. They do not know my way. So in anger I swore they would not enter my rest. Arba'im shana kut bedor va'omar am to'eh levavim ve'hem lo yadid rachai asher nishpati v'api im yavaon el menuchati. Page 13, Psalm 96. Shiru ladonai shir chadash, shiru ladonai kol haaretz, shiru ladonai baruch shemo, basrum meyom leyom Yeshuat, sapru vagoyim kevodo, bechol amim nifliotov, ki gadol Adonai, O mehulal miyod, no rao, al ko Elohim, lai lai lai, ki ko Elohim melilim, v'Adonai shamayim asap, had v'hadar lefanav, oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho, havu l'Adonai mishpachot amim, havu l'Adonai kavod vos, havu l'Adonai ke'evot shemo, seu mincha, uvahu l'chatzrot, avlai lai lai, shtachavu l'Adonai, Be'adrat Kodesh, Chilum mipanav kol haaretz, Imrum vagoyim, Adonai malach, Haftik tevel balatimot, Yadin amim be'meisharim, Yismechu hashamayim v'tagil haaretz, Ha'ir hamayamu melo, Yalo Sadai vechol asher bo lai 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 aziranu kolat seyar lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot aretz ishpot tevel betzedek ve'yamim be'emunato yalai la lai la ya la la lai Ya lai lai lai, ya lai la lai la lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai lai lai. We continue with Psalm 97, page 15. Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, let the many distant lands rejoice. Clouds and thick darkness surround the divine. Righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers round about. Flashes of lightning illumine the land. The earth watches and trembles. Mountains melt like wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the Master of all the earth. The heavens tell of God's righteousness, and all the nations see God's glory. Worshippers of idols be shamed for praising false gods. All that is deemed supreme bow before God. Zion hears of it and rejoices. The cities of Judah exult. As you, Adonai, pass judgment, you, Adonai, are above all that is earthly, exalted over all that is worshipped as divine. Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the lives of the faithful, saving them from the hands of the sinful. Light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright. Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous people, and thank God as you pronounce the divine holy name. Or Zarula Tzadik Wilishrelev Simcha, Simchu Tzadikim Badonai, Voduhu Alazecher Kadesho, page 17, Psalm 98. Amizmor Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Ki Neflot Asa Hoshia Lo Yemino. Uzaroako Joadia Adonai Yeshuato Leena Goyim Gilatzid Kato Zachar Chasta Ve'emunato Levei Yisrael Rocholav Se'aret Et Yeshuat Eloheinu Horiu Ladonai Kol Haaretz Pitchum Veranenu Vizameru Zamru Ladonai Bechinar Vekol Zimara Mechatzot Rod Vikol Shofar Horiu Lifnei Amelech Adonai Yiram Hayam Umaloho Tevel V'yosh Veva Neharot Yimcha Uchav Yachad Hari Miranenu Lifnei Adonai Kivo Lishpot Haaretz Yishpot Tevel B'tzedek Ve'amim B'meisharim Yalai Yalai la 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 Yalai la 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 Yalai la 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 Yalai la 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 Yai la 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 Yalai la 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 Yalai la 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 Yai la 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 la. We continue page 19 with Psalm 99. Adonai reigns, nations tremble. The one enthroned amidst the cherubim makes the world quake. Adonai is great in Zion above all nations. They shall acknowledge your name, saying, Great, all-inspiring, Holy One. A sovereign strength lies in the love of justice, and you forge the paths of truth, judging Jacob righteously and justly. Exalt Adonai our God, bow down before God, the Holy One. Moses and Aaron among God's priests, and Samuel among those who called upon the divine name, called to you and you answered them. You spoke to them from amidst the cloud. They kept your covenant and the law you gave them. You answered them, Adonai our God. You are a forgiving God to them, even as you punish them. Transgressions. Exalt Adonai our God and bow down at God's holy mountain, for Adonai our God is holy. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lahar kadisho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. We turn to page 21. We rise, if you are able, for Psalm 29. Mizmor leDavid, havu ladonai b'nei yelim, havu ladonai kavod vos, havu ladonai kavod shemo, ishtachavu ladonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod yirim Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et alzei halvanon. Vayarkidem kemo egel, Livanon v'siryon kemo vendrehemim. Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel ayalo, Vayechesop yaharod, Uveichalo kulo merkavod. Adonai lamabul yashav, Yeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amu yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. You may be seated. Continue on page 23. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabila, Lecha dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabila, Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu elam yuchad, Adonai echad, Ushamo echad, L'shemo tiferet, V'litila lecha, Dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabila, Lekrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mikor haberacha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof maseh b'machshvat chila lecha, Dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabila, Mikdash melech Ir melucha, kumitzi mitocha hafecha, Ravlach shevet beyemek habacha, V'hu yachamohu alaychem la, Lecha dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabila, Hitnarim me'afar kumi, Lifye vigdei tifartechami, Hayad ben Yishai, Beit alachmi, Korva nafshi gei Allah, Lecha dodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabila, Hitoreri, Kiva ore kumi ori, Shir daberi, Kivod Adonai alayich nigla, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabila, Lo tevoshi v'lo tikami, Matish tochachi umatemi bach, Yechesu ani eyamni v'nivneta ir altila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabila, V'hayu l'mshisa Shahawasayich v'rachakoko mihivalayich yasis alayich Elohayich kimchas chatanal kala lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabila Yaminu smoti frotzi v'yet Adonai taritzi ayadish Ben parzi v'nismecha v'nagila lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabila. We rise to the last stanza of Lecha dodi, page 25. We face the entrance. We face towards to greet the Shabbat bride. Bo'i b'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzala, toch emunei am segula. Bo'i chala lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nikabila. You may be seated. We continue with Psalm 92, page 27. A psalm, the song of the day of of Shabbat. It is good to thank you, Adonai, and sing to your name most high, to proclaim your love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. Finger the lute, pluck the harp, let the sound of the lyre rise up. You gladden me with your deeds, Adonai, and I shall sing of your handiwork. How wonderful are your works, Adonai, how subtle your designs. The arrogant do not understand, the fool does not comprehend this. The wicked flourish like grass, and every evildoer blossoms, only to be destroyed forever. But you, Adonai, are exalted for all time. Surely your enemies, Adonai, surely your enemies will perish. All who commit evil will be scattered. As a wild bull raises up its horn, you raised my head high, anointed it with fresh oil. As my enemies gather around me, against me, my gaze remains steady, for my ears listen and hear. The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They flourish in our God's courtyards. In old age they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming Adonai is upright, my rock, in whom there is no flaw. Tzadik tamar yifrach ki erez balvanon yiskeh shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verhananim yeyu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatabo. Page 29, Psalm 93. Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor, girded in strength. The earth stands firm, not to be dislodged. From earliest time you are enthroned. You are eternal. The rivers rise up, Adonai. The rivers raise up their roar. The rivers raise up their waves above the roar of the vast sea and the majestic breakers of the ocean. Adonai stands supreme in the heavens. In your house, bountiful in its beautiful in its holiness, your testimonies endure, Adonai, for all time. Shabbat shalom to everyone. Thank you all for joining me, for joining us, our family. It's nice to have both a lot of people online, and we have a few actually in our sanctuary. So with that, I want to let everyone know that tomorrow morning we have another treat like we've had the last couple weeks. Rabbi Steve Silberman, who is the rabbi at Havas Chesed Mobile, is in Montgomery on a he was brought into Montgomery for another project, but he is coming tomorrow morning and will join me on the Bima. He will give the Devar Torah. It would be really nice if we had a minyan for him, so we can actually have a Torah service. But either way, in the sanctuary or online, we hope you all connect in a way that's most secure for yourself. And I'm really looking forward to that. Of course, last week we had our Chazan, who's with us this evening again, though virtually. Chazan Baron was with us along with his family, his lovely family, and it was great to meet them. We had Shabbat dinner for them at our house last week. It was nice to see Naomi. It was nice to see Sarit. And of course, Chazan Charles. And he doesn't get a chance to do Shabbat services very often in person. And it was really great that he came in. Charles shared with me that for most of his life, he's never been a part of any synagogue. He's never had a regular synagogue that he visited on Shabbat, but since the beginning of the, he says loved it, since the beginning of the pandemic, he has come to every Friday night and Saturday morning service online, and he feels like he has finally found for the first time a home. And, you know, that really touched me when and he's listening now, I'm telling this. That just really touches me, that what we're doing here makes a difference in a lot of people. I'm now seeing on Facebook Live a lot of hearts that are going by. I think Charles is responsible for most of them. And I'm just glad that all of you have found also a home like Chaz and Charles has. So it's been an up and down week. Of course, we had a great Shabbat last week, and then we had a death in the Dothan community. Those of you who know Barbara Minsky, her husband Leon passed away. Leon was one of the most funny people I've ever met in my life. He was really an interesting guy. I've always wanted to get Jack London and Leon in a room and just let them go. It would have been phenomenal. So I went to the funeral in Dothan, which the service was led by Cantor Neil Schwartz and their Rabbi Emeritus Lynn Goldsmith, who I hadn't seen in a very long time. She's now in Fort Collins, Colorado. And then on Wednesday we had a group visit from one of my favorite synagogues in Los Angeles, Temple Beth Am, which is in we call it the Hood, the Jewish Hood. It's in Pico Robertson. It is a great synagogue. They have the famous library minyan, where when I lived in the valley, but when I visited Pico Robertson, I would stay with my friend Ronnie Cohen of blessed memory, who was my roomie in rabbinical school when we went to Israel. He has since died a couple of years ago, and everybody that came from this group from Beth Am knew Ronnie. And Joy got to meet their rabbi, whose name is Adam, is it Kleberg? One of the two. Anyway, apparently Rabbi Adam had interviewed at Agudath Israel way back in 1999 or 2000 or something like that. And so it was. So we got a picture of Joy and him. It was a fun visit. The second half of the book of Exodus and the first part of the book of Leviticus, where we are now in, form a carefully structured narrative. The Israelites are commanded to construct a sanctuary. They carry out the command. This is followed by an account of sacrifices to be offered there. Then in the first part of today's Sedra, the Kohanim, or the priests, are inducted into office. What happens next, though, is unexpected. A detailing of the dietary laws, a list of permitted and forbidden species, animals, fish, and birds, What is the logic of these laws and why are they placed here? What is their connection with the sanctuary? The late Rabbi Eli Monk offered a fascinating suggestion. The sanctuary was a human counterpart of the cosmos. Several key words in the biblical account of its construction are also key words in the narrative of creation at the beginning of Genesis. The Talmud says about the completion of the sanctuary that on that day there was joy before the Holy One, blessed be He, as on the day when heaven and earth were created. The universe is the home God made for man. The sanctuary was the home human beings made for God. Rabbi Monk reminds us that the first command God gave the first human being was a dietary law. You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For when you eat of it, you will surely die. The dietary laws in our portion in Shmini parallel the prohibition given to Adam. As then, so now a new era in the spiritual history of humankind, preceded by an act of creation, is marked by laws about one may and may not eat. So we have a reason for kashrut that is faithful to the text of the Torah. The text also seems to suggest that ritual purity is behind eating only these animals. The Israelites are supposed to be a kingdom of priests and should hold themselves to a higher level of purity and holiness, or uniqueness or separateness, than the surrounding pagans. Keeping kosher involves a certain discipline, which brings a Jew closer to his or her relationship with God. While discussing which animals are kosher, a discussion of purity ensues and how eating utensils can contract impurity and its remedy. In Leviticus 11:33 it says, "And every earthen vessel into which any of them falls, whatever is in it will be unclean, and you will break it." One's external appearance has very little value or importance. What's important is what is inside, one's thoughts. If a Jew performs a commandment and his thoughts are not pure, there is little value to that mitzvah. If anything, any impure thought falls into one's performance of a commandment, whatever is in it will become unclean. The performance of a mitzvah, a commandment from God, not as it's incorrectly translated, a good deed, must be performed with pure intentions and thoughts. While rediscovering my own Judaism and Irene in discovering hers, we decided a long time ago that we want to live as observant Jews. We did not try and take on everything at one time regarding kashrut, but decided to go slow and methodical and try and understand the rituals we were taking on and try and give them meaning. If not in substance, then in spirit, as helping to discipline our lives and ethics and our interactions with others. We took on Shabbat, creating our own Friday night rituals with our children, who still miss our dinners and their blessings and our singing at the table. We slowly, very slowly took on kashrut, starting with just eating biblically mandated animals, birds and fish, the separating of meat and milk. Then we started purchasing hechshered products, including meat, which was really very difficult when we lived in Salt Lake. We had our meats shipped in 4 times a year. We were part of a kosher meat co-op. After that, then we koshered our kitchen. Passover rituals took on a slow, methodical growth that increased our desire and understanding of the holiday. Other rituals were learned over time, and I am constantly discovering parts of Judaism that I did not understand or know about before, particularly growing up Orthodox in Baltimore. It has been an exciting journey, done as a family. We are all on a different rung of our observance level. Whatever mitzvah we take on, perform that mitzvah with pure thoughts and intentions, and keep the higher ethic in mind in its performance. Don't do mitzvot blindly. Do it while thinking of how this mitzvah will improve you as a person and in your dealings with others and with God. I hope you will take this serious and try and think of one way to improve your connection with Judaism, with God, and with your community. Shabbat Shalom. We will now continue our service with Ma'ariv. Ask everyone to please rise if you are able. Page 39a for the Baracho, the call to worship. Baracho et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Varach Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Baruch Adonai Elohim Melech Olam Asher B'Vam. Mahavir Yom Mevi Laila Mavdil Ben Yom Vein Laila Adonai Tzavot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Lam Voed. Baruch Adonai Hamariv Aravim. Page 40. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amchavta Torah mitzvot chukim mishpatim otanu limadita al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachvenu v'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה ועבדך תשיא ממנו לעולמים Baruch Ato Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה Asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinanatam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shachpecha v'kumecha וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, והיה אם שמות תשמעו אל מצוותי. והיו לטוטפות בין עיניכם. כי מהשמר מרץ. ויאמר אדוני משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת להם ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורתם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת. והיה לכם לציצית, הוריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטור אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. page 43a. ואמונה כזאת וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואין לנו. page 44. ומלכותו ברצון קיבל משה ובני ישראל נשירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדור בקודש נורא תהילות עושה פלא מלכותך ובניך בקיים לפני משה זה לי אנו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב ויגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. page 45. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך והושיענו למען שמך. ושמוצאתנו ואין לכם ושלומייתה ויד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הבועט סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. We rise, page 46 if you are able. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. We remain standing for the Friday night silent Amidah, pages 47 through 52. מודים אנחנו לך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. We remain standing as the ark is open for Aleinu, page 56. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, העמד מלכנו הווה זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד על כן נקבל לכהן עלינו ליראה מהפתיו הקדושך הגלו לי מן הארץ האלים קראתי חרטון. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You may be seated. This week we will observe yard sites for Abraham Butler, Zeb Capuano, Gerard Karstens, Patricia Siegel Davis, Pinky Hassan, Ruben D. Lipman, Sylvia Rubin, Daniel Siegel, and David Siegel. Those observing yard site, then those who mourn, please rise for the Kaddish Tome, page 58, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah b'yoma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayichon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael b'agalav v'zman kariv yimaru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach li'olam olmei maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudisha b'richu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran b'yoma v'yimaru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Hoseh shalom b'mramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. You may be seated. Sorry, there's a little jokes going back and forth here. Thank you for joining us as we begin Shabbat. Tomorrow morning we will continue services at 9:30 a.m. And as I said before, Rabbi Steve Silberman of Avas Chesed in Mobile is in Montgomery. Another group brought him, and he's doing a program downtown, believe it or not. I invited him to join us for Shabbat morning services tomorrow morning. So he will be here, and of course I've invited him to give the Devar. So if you are within driving distance, walking distance of Agudath, come stop by. We would love to have a minyan while Rabbi Steve is here. But if you can't, at least come online, as a lot of you are right now. I think we got about, we must have 30 or 40 people online right now. It's great. From literally everywhere. From Florida, from Arizona, from Atlanta. We have people coming in from all over. It's great. And next weekend, we have another treat in store. Next Saturday morning, we are going to have an ufra for Richard Leibovitz, who is getting married. And you are all invited. It's going to be a nice crowd. It should be a lot of fun. It really should be a lot of fun. If Richard's involved, it's going to be a lot of fun. And come and celebrate with Gerald and his family. So, let's see. What did I forget? Tuesdays, Mondays and Thursdays, we have Minyan at 7:15 a.m. And I'm glad to say with breakfast. We are now having breakfast, thanks to David and Gerald. And it's just so much fun to just sit down with people, not on a little 2-inch by 1-inch screen, but actually see them full face like I'm seeing all of you right now. And on Tuesday, via Zoom, we have a group that is studying Pirkei Avot together. So if you would like to join us, send me an email, and I will send you the link for Tuesday. It's Tuesday at 1 p.m. Just because everything's out of order. And tomorrow night we gather for the Alabama Community Virtual Havdalah, which now meets at 7:30 p.m. Okay. And again, if you were not on our list and would like to come, send me an email and I will get you the link sometime before we start at 7:30 tomorrow. And the nice thing about this is that just like last week, I had Charles with me for Havdalah. Here, Rabbi Steve is going to join me in my living room for Havdalah. So it should be interesting. Should be a lot of fun. So please plan on joining us. With that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. And we will conclude our service, page 211, with Adon Olam. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso ko azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol leva ado yimloch nora v'hu haya v'hu over Vehu yeh betifara, vehu yeh betifara, vehu echad v'ein sheni laham, shelo lehachbira, beli reshit, beli tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, vehu eli v'chai go'eli v'tzor, chevlim b'yetzara, Vehu nisi umanosli menat kosi biyom mekra menat kosi biyom mekra biyado afkid ruchi biyet ishan v'ya'ira v'im ruchi giviyati Adonai li v'lo ira Adonai li v'lo ira. Shabbat Shalom.